of all, congratulations for MasterChef.
Thank you.
How is this year's season going to be different than the previous seasons?
So what happens every year is that we have this massive search. जो पहले कभी नहीं होता था इतना कि we have to go and search for people in B tier cities and all those things. But इस टाइम पे सबसे बड़ा शॉक जो हमें मुझे लगा at least वो ये था कि I actually went to homes for auditions. So you're going to see me actually. Because what happens, there's still a little stigma around being a chef or sending their boy to cooking competitions or cooking schools. So what I feel what really changed this time was that you will see me that I went to some people's homes where I convinced their parents that, your son has such an amazing talent or your girl has such an amazing talent. I think give them to us and let's see if they can make it to the top. तो अभी भी बहुत प्री इनहिबिशंस हैं which I feel that that's a part of a growing culture. Developing culture में तो ये बहुत important है कि you feel that you can actually don't want to go children to a different route, right? जैसे हमारे parents का भी था. But I do feel that this time you see a lot of norms breaking, which I'm very proud of, first of all. And also we have Chef Garima Arora on the show. We have first female chef. And not just any female chef, the world's iconic female chef Garima Arora, who is one of my biggest inspirations and my strength. And I think having these two factors is amazing. And you will see that how you figured out that if people are passionate, they will also find the space in the world.
Right.
जो मेरे लिए इस बात का बहुत important है because we have fought battles for our cuisine space in the West. But these kids are growing up now in India and they get this jump start to get a global recognition.
Right, sir. So, taking that forward, how do you think reality shows, like other reality shows, including MasterChef, help young cooks?
आप मुझे बताओ कि अगर आप एक शेफ हैं, घर में हैं, आप घर में खाना बना के इंस्टाग्राम पे लगाते हैं, सोशल मीडिया करते हैं, but to be actually cooking in front of about the population of America every night, you bring a certain amount of credibility. Of course, it's challenging. घर में खाना बना रहे हो तो you have your own leisure of time, experience. आपने क्या बनाना है? Nobody's instructing you that way. But to be carved that international stage, you need to go through challenges. You need to be totally ironed out. It's like a proper मूर्ति बनाने के लिए बहुत हथौड़े लगते हैं. So this helps them in major way. Imagine this is like a boot camp of cooking. और boot camp में जो हम लोगों ने 20 साल में सीखा है उनको इसका एक्सपीरियंस हो सकता है in just like almost like 5-6 months, which I feel उससे better क्या हो सकता है?
Right.
How will they ever have an access to Michelin-star chefs or to have these amazing chefs or authors and this team of people all the time? But what happens is that some people use it to their benefit and some people don't use it. We've seen it in so many other seasons. That some people don't have any respect for it and they just move on. But those people who value it, it's like education, right? Everybody gets educated in the same classroom. Why doesn't everybody perform the same? Because some people value the opportunity and they take it forward.
Right. So you bring to these chefs your massive experience. So if there is one tip that you would like to give to all young chefs, what would that be?
Do not stop being curious. You will settle down to a good equation where you are making enough money or enough name or you have enough restaurants being supported by you. Don't stop it. You've been educated, you've been given a voice. There are much more reasons than that. With the food and bringing all the people together is one major reason, but you have the intensity right now and the intelligence ability to be curious. Use those resources to learn more, explore more. बहुत टाइम मैं देखता हूँ कि chefs have achieved certain award or certain recognition, and then after that you don't see anything new coming from them, kind of, right? And I feel कि वो बहुत जरूरी है कि these people have to do this. They have to constantly stay curious, keep learning. I feel that.
Right. So now talking about food in general, recently frozen food was declared Japan's dish of the year, capturing the essence of the pandemic. So how much do you think has pandemic changed food choices across the world?
Really, I felt that people started cooking more at home. I didn't understand that review. The way they were promoting it. Of course, you also
Yeah.
understand things that promoted by big companies, big dollar money, and people like you and me get convinced by it, right? I felt that people have become more conscious post-pandemic. I feel that personally, I feel that people had less access to travels and everything, so they became self-sufficient cooking at home, right? I feel extremely opposite of this whole campaign which is going on right now. That everybody should eat frozen food. Everybody should learn how to cook beyond the genders. I feel that everybody should be independent, like most of the
Yeah.
Americans. Almost every American can be self-sustained. They can cook. They don't have to wait for their moms or dads to come and cook for them. Just giving a little leverage of age. I think post teens, everybody should be self-sufficient to take care of themselves, from laundries to cleaning to cooking. I feel that.
No, that's true, right? So talking about becoming self-sufficient, I think during the pandemic we saw people experimenting with food a lot, and there were like various food trends popping up on social media. So what is
Mm.
your take on these different kinds of food trends that came up?
I love it. I have never followed a trend, and I appreciate it. I totally appreciate it. I'm not that guy who sits in a corner angrily and saying, "What the hell is going on?" People were finding entertainment in food, excitement, solace in food. This was their At that time, this was their most important place to go to when everything was shut down. Food gave people the comfort of an extreme different ratio and proportions. I feel that. तो
Yeah,
मेरा तो कोई ट्रेंड से क्या होता है कि how many trends would you remember next week? It's all gone, right?
right.
I think one
That's true.
thing important thing which came out of the pandemic was that I saw so many men cooking, especially in
Yes.
developing countries. In developing nations, you don't see so many men on the forefront of cooking. I saw a lot of that.
So talking about Indian cuisine, so December is around the time when several dishes from across the world make their way to UNESCO World Heritage List. We still don't know this year's, but if you have to pick one Indian dish to make it to UNESCO's World Heritage List, what would be your pick and why?
I think khichdi is an extreme comfort food. It has different variations around the country. Mainly, the khichdi is like a absolute complete wholesome meal where you have enough carbs, you can add your proteins from lentils, you have your vegetables for nourishment, you have your spices for your metabolism and functioning of your body and taste. Mainly खिचड़ी से better तो कोई भी example नहीं दिखता मेरे को.
Right. And so talking about dishes as we are approaching the year end, if you have to pick one dish that perhaps summed up the year's mood, what would that be? Your dish of the year?
I'm just coming from Goa. Just a few hours ago I landed. And that one dish has totally boom. It has been shocking for me. I've had that dish before in Karnataka, but I've never had this version in Goa. It is jackfruit idlis. I just had it just like maybe like 24 hours ago, and I think it just blew me away. It was one of
Yeah,
the
I think
best. Yeah,
these are
and
two elements I've never heard together.
yeah, and they didn't serve it like coconut chutney. They serve it like a chili coconut thecha. So it was very coarse chutney, and it had sweet jackfruit inside it. And it was not made like an idli. It was made like a sanas, like it's like almost like a katori shape instead of having the typical shape of idli. But they used the batter of idli and blown away. It was the best dish I've had, and that has to go in my menu next year.
So, sir, there are several such regional dishes which are made, smaller clusters. So, how do you think such regional dishes could make it to the mainstream?
अब तो बन ही रही हैं. अब तो देख लें, because the power of social media, you see all these people from their hometowns has become such a form of patriotism that they want to represent the cuisine. अब मेन स्ट्रीम में क्या होता है कि हाउ डू यू डिफाइन मेन स्ट्रीम मेरे को बहुत कंफ्यूजन होती है इस बात की. मेन स्ट्रीम क्या मतलब? इफ न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स राइट्स अबाउट इट, मेन स्ट्रीम वो कह रहे हो आप? मतलब
नहीं,
मेन
नहीं, नहीं.
नहीं. To put something out and more people are knowing about it, I think that is the very important thing for us. We also think that many parts of these smaller regions, sometimes the taste is acquired, right? Sometimes when you're traveling in Northeast, you might not find that dish very aromatic or delicious. but that dish has such a comfort for those people. How do you take something to mainstream? There are challenges. Ingredients, palette programming, which I call palette programming, is one of the most important parts of cuisine. Why there must be a reason, right? That Punjabi food is a generic food of India, right? Now,
Yes.
everywhere you get Punjabi cuisine. So I feel because they programmed the palette, it took them years, and now I see all the regional cuisines coming forefront. Suddenly, I'm seeing so much of Sindhi cuisine coming forward. Suddenly,
Yeah.
it's not suddenly. It has been going on for a long time. But क्या हुआ कि लोगों की programming change हो रही है, and they're also figuring that out. I think one thing which I still feel hasn't gotten its great due is Bengali cuisine. मेन स्ट्रीम में बहुत कम जगह होती है, एक पिरामिड है, मेन स्ट्रीम में टॉप पे बहुत कम जगह होती है, राइट? तो वहां पे तो पहले ही चार चीजें, हमारे बच्चे ही पास्ता, पिज्जा और फ्रेंच पेस्ट्री में फंसे हुए हैं, वो टॉप पोजीशन सारी वही लेके बैठे हुए हैं.
Yeah,
टेक्स
that's true.
टाइम टू गेट टू टॉप, इट टेक्स टाइम.
Right. So finally, I'll just ask you four rapid fire questions, and you can answer in a word and line as it suits you. So if there's one dish you can have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, like your favorite dish, what would that be?
Parathas, indulgence.
One bizarre dish that you just can't wrap your head around, which I've seen on social media.
बहुत ज्यादा ही है, हे भगवान. मैं जिसको नाम करूंगा उसको बदनाम करोगे आप. I'm okay. It might be weird for me. It's not weird for many people who are making it, so I'm okay.
I mean, that's fine. What's the most experimental dish that you have eaten, like a most different experimental combination, if I may?
Oh, so I was in Japan, and this Japanese chef I'd met many years ago. So he traveled to New York a few months back before I came for MasterChef. So he said that he wants to bring something for me to eat. I'm like, okay. So it was like fish in chocolate sauce.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I kept telling myself that I'm supposed to appreciate it, but somehow my palate was not programmed to appreciate it. And it was very dark, compound chocolate. I can't even call it chocolate sauce. I don't know why somebody would add. And that fish was also very strong. It was actually a heavy body fish with a lot of oil. So it was like cod, which is a very full body fish. It's not a flaky fish. It's a heavy duty fish. तो उसमें चॉकलेट एब्जॉर्ब भी नहीं हुई थी, तो मैं फिश भी खा रहा हूँ, चॉकलेट सॉस भी खा रहा था. देयर इज अ chocolate curry in Mexico, mole, but ऐसा नहीं खाया था मैंने.
So your favorite street food item?
अभी तो बॉम्बे में हूँ, तो आई थिंक आर Bombay's burger, which is vada pav. I think it's classic, absolutely classic.
And finally, what is your guilty pleasure when it comes to food?
मैं खाता तो नहीं हूँ, बट गुजराती स्नैक्स somehow make it to your room all the time. जो भी आता ले आता कुछ, तो मैं कोशिश करता हूँ ना खाऊं ऑफ टाइमिंग, बट इट्स अ गिल्टी प्लेजर.
Thank you so much, Vikas, for talking to me.
Thank
It's
you
been a
so much.
complete
All
pleasure.
the very best. Keep rising. Take care.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.